today is the first day of Gemini season, so happy birthday to all of the Geminis out there. May 20th, the sun shifted into Gemini as of like 9:45 this morning. This is a big week energetically because the sun has moved out of Taurus, out of the earth sign of Taurus, into the chatty, communicative, versatile, adaptable, and very active sign of Gemini. And along with the sun shifting into Gemini, we also have Gemini's ruling planet, which is Mercury, which is the planet of communication and travel. Also rules over our nervous system, so that the leading planet of Gemini is actually at home right now in Gemini. So Mercury's in Gemini, Venus is also in Gemini and retrograde, and that's a big deal because Venus only goes retrograde once every 8 years or so. And so just real quick, you'd want to look into your chart, sorry, not your chart, you want to look into, in 2012, what was going on for you in your life regarding the Venusian ways of life, which is love and money and beauty and what makes us feel good and what do we value. So if you want to kind of get an idea on what this Venus retrograde will look like for you, or the themes that will be revisited for you, you definitely want to go back to 2012 and try to dig deep there and see where you were at in the Venus areas of life, okay? But I won't waste too much time on the Venus retrograde because I already talked about that in my last video. But however, Mercury and Venus will be in Gemini, they are in Gemini, and the sun and the moon will be in Gemini for the new moon on May 22nd, 1:22. Wait, I think it's 1:22? I totally don't know if it's 1:22 or 1:39 for some reason. PM, Eastern Standard Time, we have the new moon in Gemini. This is the last new moon before the 3 eclipses are going to start on June 5th, okay? So this new moon in Gemini energy, whenever planets go into Gemini, there is typically like a shift that is felt, and the more sensitive you are and the more planets you have in Gemini, you'll feel this. But it's like your nervous system gets activated for better or worse. So you can get really ramped up and really action orientated, and like there's a lot of energy in your body and you need to move and do things. Consequently, you can get also burnt out quite easily because again, your nervous system gets activated. Mercury rules the nervous system. Mercury also rules over the mechanisms in which we breathe, so you want to make sure you're breathing to calm the nervous system right now, because there is this sense over the next couple of weeks that it could be a lot of energy right now, especially because we're in situations where we cannot necessarily have our typical outlets, okay? So just be mindful of that. Gemini is also the sign of communication, as is Mercury, the planet. So, communication is important. You want to make sure that you're doing that as effectively as you possibly can, both in written form and verbal form. So writing's really therapeutic right now, since there's a lot that's to be said in the feelings department with Venus retrograde. Okay, so the new moon in Gemini takes place on May 22nd, which is this Friday. And this new moon, the most supportive aspect that we have with it is that this new moon is trining Saturn. It's making a trine to Saturn, which is the planet of discipline and order and structure. And it gives us like this foundation of security. And when it's trining the moon, our emotions are heightened, of course. We do feel a lot, but at the same time, there's this level of calmness that can come along with that because of Saturn, and it gives us like this advantage of where we can see our plans manifesting. We can see things actually starting to take order, and order coming back into our lives. And we see that even worldwide with everything going on. So that's a nice supportive aspect that we have. Mercury and Venus will also be making a nice conjunction the morning of the new moon, which is going to be really helpful for like a blip in time, because that can feel like a nice little surprise could come in for you through email or a message of some sort, something that you weren't expecting. It could even be in the realm of financial, so it could be a check that you weren't prepared for, money from another source, helpful, not necessarily unemployment, but just anything that could be unexpected, a surprise, something that makes you feel good, that's uplifting. So there's a possibility of that. That's a really nice planetary aspect that could be surrounding this new moon for you. And then we've got the moon trining Saturn. Now, on the opposite side, we do have some non-supportive, or rather, I should say, some challenging aspects. Mercury is going to be squaring Mars, and that could actually feel like, Mercury squaring Mars. That could actually feel like a mini Mercury, not Mars, I'm sorry. I'm like, my brain is, sorry guys. Gemini energy always makes me like very, very energetic and then very, very tired quickly. I burn out fast. So Mercury is squaring Neptune, and when Mercury squares Neptune, that could feel like a mini Mercury retrograde, okay? So if you've been feeling like you're dropping things, you're, a little bit, you're having a hard time with your words, or you're just feeling like misunderstood big time when you communicate, it's not being received properly, or you're not receiving communication properly, that Mercury square Neptune can be responsible for that. And Mars is also going to be squaring Neptune, although loosely. So we want to be mindful of that because Mars is in Pisces right now. And when Mars is in Pisces, it's like the god of war goes into the sign of fluidity, the sign of the fish, Pisces, and literally feels like it can't move, like it's underwater and it can't move, it can't act. So there could be this feeling of like really wanting to move and act, but yet feeling stuck to your position and you can't move, and that's okay. So like I always say, just do what you can do right now to just be and keep your nervous system calm, because now more so than any other time, there's that feeling of just like over amped up nervous energy. And so whichever which way you can quell that anxiety, which might not even manifest as like anxiety attacks per se, but just anxiety in general, it's just excess energy. So you really do just want to try to like burn that off in a constructive way for yourself. For me, I love to meditate, I exercise, I write, it's all the mercurial things that we can do to keep us from burning out, spinning out, right? But also remaining active, because Gemini is an active sign. So overall, this new moon stands to be quite supportive. It is still intense because the energy is just overall intense in general. And if you have any planets around 2 degrees of Gemini, which is this new moon, if it's your ascendant, if your moon is in Gemini, your sun, Venus especially, you will feel this. You will definitely feel this. You will feel exhausted. You'll probably vacillate between periods and bursts of high intense energy and then really, really low energy, although that seems to be the norm for everybody lately. The other thing I want to talk about is I want to say, and it's something that I've been saying, be your own guru, be your own teacher, listen to your intuition, and regardless of anything that you're hearing, if something does not feel right to you or sit right with you, you need to honor that and you need to trust it, and you need to not just listen to everybody else. You don't need to thrust your opinion down anyone's throat, and you don't need to be combative about it, but you do need to honor it. So if a bunch of people this is just an example, if a bunch of people are going to the beach for the weekend and you're like really not feeling good about that because you're not ready to get out there yet for whatever the reason, don't go. You don't have to explain yourself, just don't go. On the other side, if you're one of many that are just like, you know what, I want life to get back to normal and I want to start doing things again, and you want to go and you want to do that, then go and do that. Just be smart about everything that you're doing. Trust yourself, take care of yourself, and make sure that you're acting out of the place of authenticity and that you're not just being a sheep and going along with what everybody else is doing. Whatever way that is, okay? Whatever way that is, just make sure that you're doing what feels right for you, for your soul, because only you know that. Not anybody else will know that for you. I'm going to just pull a quick card for the new moon, which is this Friday. And as always, new moons are a time of like intention setting and manifestation and abundance and growth. So do make sure, especially because this is a Mercury-ruled new moon with Gemini, and Mercury being Gemini also, which makes it like a double Mercury influence, which could also make us doubly, our nervous system's doubly activated, right? Feeling more electrified. But you want to, sorry, I'm not going to take that one. You want to, I should say, you want to still put down in writing, because Mercury is all about communication, as is Gemini. You want to put down in writing what it is that you want to grow for yourself, what it is that you want to bring into your life, and then also, what it is that you'd like to do away with, behaviors, projects, situations, what it is that you want to make room for. So even though there's a lot going on right now, guys, and it definitely feels chaotic, there's still this Moon-Saturn trine that we've got that's really supportive and grounding. So we want to remember that and try to focus on the good. Okay. Great. Okay, so we've got the Judgment card in the Hermetic Tarot deck. It's actually called The Last Judgment. So Judgment is a major arcana, and when we have major cards, those are always very significant. Well, all the cards are, but major cards are major. They're karmic. They're like the Judgment card, especially. Judgment is ruled by Pluto, which is the planet of transformation and rebirth, and when it's also like a regeneration, and when things need to die to be reborn again. Judgment is like the trumpets being called, people being called to action, life coming back, which makes a lot of sense if you look at where we're at right now. Life is coming back, albeit slowly, right? Albeit slowly. Life is coming back to some kind of normalcy, right? Things are kicking back up again, and you want to use your judgment, right? You want to use your judgment, and you want to do what's right for you and what's right for your family, and you want to honor that, okay? So take really good care of yourselves, and I will be back with your readings for June soon. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I think it's actually Memorial Day weekend now. I'm completely losing track of time. And my links are below, lisasalvatore.com. I do private consultations. You can find me there. And I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye.